Aloha! Aloha mai kako! It is Aina Awakea time. It is lunchtime. And you are in the right place at the right time for the lunchtime cooking demonstration. This is the cooking demonstration of Waiwai o nā Kūpuna, Treasures from the Ancestors. We are set to begin with Chef Domingo. In a few minutes, we're actually giving a little bit of time. We delayed starting the demo for the purpose of giving you some time to gather up your needed ingredients. And you can find the ingredients list on our website under the presentation portal at the very bottom where it says Chef Domingo and Nui Kealoha Catering. Click on that link and he's gonna demo the dessert first, and then the main dish second. So for those of you, about 200 people purchased the cooking demo boxes from ʻUlu Co-op, and yeah, that's so exciting. We're very excited for this partnership to bring local goods and food items into your kitchen, with the help and support and expertise of Chef Domingo and his son, Kalā. They're going to show you how to use them and make amazing food for your ohana, your family, and maybe even your work colleagues. Again, go to the website, Waiwai no nā Kūpuna website. Go to the presentation portal and scroll down to where you see Chef Domingo's picture, and then you click on his name, and you will see, as you scroll down that page, the ingredients for the lunch cooking demonstration. And so you see Kaunamano Farms corned beef, brisket, and Kalo hash with heirloom tomato relish. And then if you scroll a little bit more, you'll see the dessert one, the Piele ʻUlu with Hawaiian grown bean to bar chocolate center. And so, yes, you are in the right place and you are here at the right time for the lunch cooking demo. Go get your ingredients, get your kitchen ready. If you're considering taking pictures of your cooking experience and then posting it to your social media, please consider using our hashtag AllHCBE2021 so we can share our collective conference experience. That's AllHCBE2021. HCBE stands for Hawaiian Culture-Based Education, and it's all HCBE 2021. I'm going to introduce to you Chef Kealoha and son Kalā. Kealoha Domingo's family-owned and operated catering business is called Nui Kealoha. With a culturally grounded and value-aligned foundation, his current priority is simply to feed people. Born and raised on the mokupuni of Oahu in the district of Ko'olauloa and the Ahupua of Ka'a'awa, Chef Kealoha Domingo is a multi-generational Hawaiian practitioner with a genuine love for food. As chef and owner of his catering company and an active member of the Hawaiian community, he revels in feeding the multitudes with a foundation of traditional Hawaiian values, honoring the spiritual connection to the ʻaina, kanaka, and mea ai, combined with a touch of contemporary style. Kealoha's genuine aloha for the ʻaina and the community that he feeds, culminated with his native Hawaiian perspectives, have earned him praise and respect throughout the pai ʻaina of Hawaii. His passion for cooking stems from being raised in a food-centric ohana, growing up preparing food for countless functions and gatherings, preparing traditional imu and other elements of traditional Hawaiian food. Led by examples of both food industry professional family members, as well as generations of ancestors who carried the cultural responsibility of cooking, healing, He has been inherently past this innate need to fulfill these duties. Additionally, the exposure of various cultures and cuisines that makes Hawaii so unique helped to shape his passion and love for foods of all types. Kealoha shares, "Hanaya lako" is a phrase introduced to me by our eldest son, Kahikina o Kalā, an alumni of Kekula o Samuel M. Kamakau and Kamehameha School's Kapalama class of 2017, and current University of Hawaii Hawaiian Studies major, who was raised in a community mindset with a foundation of Hawaiian language and culture. This phrase means to feed, not till overindulge, yet rather till contentment, to provide nourishment not only in a physical sense, but in a holistic sense of mind, body, and spirit. Kealoha can be reached via email or on Facebook. We'll put that information up for you. You can also find them on Instagram at Hawaiian Style. Chef Kealoha, take it away.
Mai ka piʻina Kalā I kumukahi a hiki aku I ka mole ʻolu o lehua. Aloha nui kākou, Velina Kealoha, Waipuna lau Kealoha I oko pakahia pau ke anaina e hoʻolohe mai nei. Aloha.
Aloha me Kealoha, aloha mai kākou, aloha Awakea, and kunghi whāchoi. Happy Lunar New Year. And I just want to take a moment to say and mahalo Kanani for that awesome introduction. And I'm not sure if anyone has said it, but boom Kanani. You know, that was such a thorough introduction that I think we're pretty much ready to move into our pre-recorded video, but just before that, I wanted to give my son a chance to introduce himself because, you know, he's my trusty right-hand man, and he definitely is creating a lineage and a reputation of his own. So I'll give him a moment to do that.
Aloha me kākou, o wau Kealoha Kealoha Domingo. I'm the eldest son of the Domingo family. I'm happy to be able to support my dad in this endeavor, and hopefully we can all get some good food out of this experience.
I also wanted to take a chance to, you know, mahalo everyone, especially the organizers of the conference, Kamehameha Schools, and the many hands that that took to, you know, organize this Waiwai no na Kūpuna opportunity, which, you know, definitely is something new for us, and, you know, definitely a treasure. I also want to make sure you folks know about Hawaii ʻUlu Cooperative, who, you know, was instrumental in bringing out this Aina Awakea curated chef box. Our good friend Donna Shapiro, she really did a lot to put this together so that you can have kind of a fourth dimension with this cooking demonstration. And, you know, if you're fortunate enough to be able to get it, the same ingredients that we utilize for the dish, and that's including that ono corned beef from our friend Keone Lee and Chef Keone at Kaunamano Farms and the Pua restaurant, Hawaii Crown chocolate for the mea ono dessert. And I also wanted to take a moment to recognize Papahana Kua'ola, because we're sitting here right now enjoying this beautiful view, and you know, looking at all your smiling faces. And the last but not least, I do want to recognize and thank Kahalu'u Key Project, the family there, Auli'i Durua, who has been definitely a valuable member of the community. They've been supporting people in need, and they did allow us to do this pre-recorded cooking demo in their awesome kitchen at Key Project. You know, there's a lot of people out there who have been pivoting to support the community in this time of need. You know, Kahalu'u Key Project is one of them. Also got to recognize our friends at Chef Hui, Mark and Amanda Noguchi, Auntie Tammy Smith, the Lunalilo Homes, Hale Kealoha, and so many others who really stepped up to the plate to you know, keep feeding the community. So I definitely want to give recognition to them. You know, with that being said, Hopefully you folks enjoy the cooking demonstration. We're going to be having a Q&A afterwards, and if you want to ask us a couple of questions, go for it, and we'll do our best to give you an answer. So if not, you reach out to me via email later on, and I'll do my best to get back to you. Okay, anything else? Hello?
Hello, enjoy the presentation.
Okay.
We raise pigs on pasture. We feed them macadamia nuts, we feed them papayas, bananas, and then also some regular feed, and then of course the pasture. And we actually use the water that is the spring from the farm, and what happens is we end up with this really great flavored pork. During the pandemic, we started curating all these boxes from all the different farmers all over the state. We do all these added value products. Corned beef was one of them, and they were a big hit, but they were so hard to make. You gotta remember, there's only so much brisket on every animal. Every pig only has a certain amount of pieces of bacon, and it also takes a human to create all that stuff. In Hawaii, we don't have giant facilities. We have 2 or 3 guys in a kitchen brining and cutting and smoking and curing, and I mean, everything takes 20 days at the very minimum. I mean, to make bacon, it takes a full month. So, you gotta find somebody that can do all those things.
Corned beef brings just a bunch of childhood memories, just about family, feeding everybody. So we're happy to put the corned beef in the box. We're kind of special because we have a bunch of different climates that raise great vegetables, great livestock. The food has to reflect the land. We try to do that as much as we can. Try to focus on different farmers. What are they growing? Or what type of season it is. And I think a bunch of people on the island are trying to do that as much as they can.
So our baker's ripe ʻulu and our recipe ready kalo, they come from small farmers from all over the island. We received the ʻulu and we let it ripen, and that sort of dry storage ripening allows it to have this full flavor come into the fruit, and it becomes sweet and fruity. It wasn't really something that we intended to make. It just happened because we had so much fruit and it ripened. So we ended up getting creative and scooping the flesh out of the skin and putting it in this deep pan and steaming it until it was fully cooked. And this magical thing happened where the flesh became like a bread, like a sweet bread. And it's absolutely delicious. It really has that full flavor of ʻulu. And it happens to be my favorite product that we have, and just one of my favorite stages to eat ʻulu in. Kalo is a little bit different because you have the oxalates inside, and so if you eat it undercooked, it'll actually make your throat itchy. Kalo comes in from our farmers. We peel it and we steam it so that it's fully cooked. Having a kalo that is fully cooked makes it really easy to add kalo into your dishes at home. Currently, we have nearly 100 farmers in our cooperative and a couple in Maui. It means coming together so farmers have somewhere to bring their fruit, to bring their crop, and they know that they can get a fair price, and they know that their crop is going somewhere. And not only that, but going somewhere that's also going back to the community.
It seems like every time in Hawaii when we have a commodity, like I grew ginger and we did really well until the wholesalers decided they can get it cheaper from a foreign country. Ended up with guava that way, ended up with a lot of other crops, the tropical fruit trees. So I thought, okay, cacao would be a good one because everybody eats chocolate and the demand is way higher than what we could ever produce in our state. When I was in college, I liked plant pathology, which basically is a plant doctor. And I realized that I really enjoyed being outdoors. So I decided that I didn't want to be indoors staring down a microscope, all day long. And how many years later now? I've been farming over 40 years. I love farming. I love watching things grow. and I love to eat. It's good to grow what you like to eat. I love chocolate from when I was a little kid. Although now that I'm older, I'm more into the 90% or darker cacao, which is actually very healthy for you. Especially us old guys, gives us more brain power, which we need.
We're gonna take this in my favorite order. We're gonna do dessert first. So what we have today, we're working with some of this this beautiful overripe ʻulu or ʻulu pala from Hawaii ʻulu Co-op. It comes in a handy little 12-ounce bag. The dish that we're doing today is called Piele ʻulu. This is a spin-off of a traditional dish. So I'm gonna add a couple of things that I thought might boost up the flavor a little bit. But of course, you have to have a lot of coconut milk. And this is about half a cup. You folks have the recipe. And I'm gonna add in this brown butter. Make sure you get all those bits on the bottom of the bowl. I'm gonna add that in here. Make sure you let the brown butter cool off for a little bit. You don't wanna add the hot brown butter to your coconut milk mix too quickly, because you're gonna have a little explosion. So when you're browning this butter, you want to be really careful about it. You want to make sure that you use a medium-high heat, and you're basically going to be melting butter, and you're going to watch it convert from a yellowish color to a light brown color. I mean, hence the name brown butter. But the thing you want to be careful of, you want to keep that pan stirring. If you want to use a spoon, keep your butter moving, because it'll burn. You definitely don't want to let it go too long. As soon as it starts to get light brown, you want to cut that heat off, because brown butter can turn to black butter in a second, and that's not what we want in this case. So I'm going to go ahead and add in a touch of sea salt, just to bring out all those flavors. The butter is salted, and I'm adding just a touch of sea salt to bring out that distinct flavor a little bit more. And a little bit of this is homemade vanilla from my mom's pantry. That always makes everything taste better. So we're just gonna mix this up really well, like a pancake batter. You want to get all the liquid out. It should be the consistency of like a banana bread batter. So the other thing that we need to take care of is we need to go ahead and make our chocolate ganache filling. That's something that you want to make sure you do with ample time, so that you can let it set up. If you want to do it, sooner than later, you want to do it the day before, that's totally fine. But if you leave it in an ice bath for roughly 20 minutes to half an hour, you should be good to go. We're going to go ahead and open that up, and we're going to break it up into some nice even pieces. And we're going to employ our culinary friend, Chef Microwave. And it's really simple. We're just going to pop this in a microwave safe bowl for about a minute, roughly a minute and a half, till it gets nice and smooth. You don't want to overcook it, because it might start to separate. But in a microwave, it's really simple. Okay, so now that our chocolate is nice and melted, you just want to make sure you get all those lumps out. We're going to combine in this sweetened condensed milk. I'm actually using a coconut milk version of it today, but you can use whatever you got. Just get it mixed in there, and it's going to help it to kind of stabilize. With 2 spoons, you're going to just place a little dollop in the center, about the size of a teaspoon. Okay, so now I'm gonna let this ganache sit in the ice bath, set for maybe 15-20 minutes until it firms up a little bit, so that we can handle it. And then we're gonna go ahead and put it into the batter that we made. I've greased this pan with a little bit of coconut oil. I think this batter is going to make roughly about 6 muffins. So we're going to fill this up about 3/4 of the way. I think we'll get about 6 of them. And we'll just reserve a little bit for capping off the ganache. So we've had our little pu'olos of ganache sitting in this ice bath for roughly about 20 minutes. And it's getting kind of firm to the touch, so I'm gonna go ahead and add this to our batter. Just place a nice little dollop of that ganache in there. Now, obviously, if you let it sit overnight or for a little longer, it'll be easier to work with, a little less gummy, but you know, it's okay to get a little chocolate in our fingers. We're gonna go ahead and top it off with a little bit of batter. And we're gonna go ahead and add a little bit of this sea salt and turbinado sugar just to top it off for a little extra pop, a little bit of pa'akai and sugar. So we're gonna put this in the oven, 375 for about half an hour. Okay, so now we're gonna work on our savory dish, and it is going to be Hawaii ʻulu Cooperative taro and corned beef hash. There's something that is really important to know about taro. I mean, first of all, you know, it's very significant to us as Hawaiians. We look at it as our ancestor, Halo na Kalā kapalili. You know, taro comes in many different varieties in Hawaii. You know, somewhere like 300 varieties of taro. Typically, taro wouldn't be used in a dish as a side dish or as an ingredient. It would be really the focal point of the meal. Generally, it's going to be eaten steamed and cooked like this, as what we call kalopa'a, or it'll be pounded into a mash called poi, pa'iai or poi. You know, I really think that it's a great idea for us to take a moment to look into, you know, all the different facets of taro. So many different things to know between varieties. You can get different flavor profiles, you can get different colors, you can get different textures even of in your dish just by changing the variety of taro. Such a treasured ingredient. I mean, really our staple food in Hawaii. I know that this taro is a lehua variety that is procured by Hawaii ʻulu Co-op. You know, again, one of my longtime mentors, you know, one of the biggest questions that were posed to him at many times was, you know, Uncle Jerry, what's your favorite taro? And his answer would always be the taro that's in front of me on my dinner table. And here we have some beautiful lehua, thanks to Hawaii ʻulu Co-op. And we're gonna make a simple hash. You know, this is a dish that I grew up eating. You know, not this version, but you know, we all grew up eating hash as a kid in Hawaii. Kalā's gonna be working on the corned beef. You know, one thing about the corned beef is important. I would suggest that you cut it in the correct fashion. You know, you see the grains running the long ways. You want to cut it against the grains, and you know it's gonna fall apart into a nice crumble. So he's going to go ahead and work on that, and we're going to start working on the other mise en place here. So the taro is going to be real simple. I mean, like I said, it's already cooked, clean. They took all the work out of it for you. It's going to cut it in little half-inch cubes. Doesn't have to be anything, you know, super crazy. You know, I'm just going to go ahead and dump it out. Of course, I defrosted this taro, and it's you know, at a good temperature to cook. We keep it roughly about the same size so that we have a nice uniform cooking. But like us as people, a little bit of different size, you know, a little bit of different shape, a little bit of different color and flavor, and it makes us what we are. So I think that you know, we don't have to knock ourselves out to make it all perfect, but remembering that we're honoring this taro as our Kūpuna. So we always cook with love and aloha, and we put all our good energy into this, especially when we're around our Kūpuna haloa. So I got it all nice and cubed up. I'm gonna go ahead and combine this in here, and Kalā's gonna start adding in his corned beef and his minced garlic. And in the meantime, I'll be working on some onions. It's a little simple dice here. Be careful. Use a sharp knife. And I'm just gonna give it a little. Oops, sorry. Take your time. And we're gonna. Doesn't have to be too fine, you know. It's gonna melt down and get a nice caramelization in there. So I use half an onion, and while we're working on onions, I'm gonna go ahead and slice the rest of this one for our tomato relish that we're gonna go ahead and add on to this. With these green onions or scallions, I'm gonna give it just to give a little color. I'll put that all in there. For me, growing up with corned beef hash, it was pretty traditional for us to have ketchup on it, and you know, I'm not a huge ketchup fan, but I do like it on my hash. So I thought I would do a little relish that would kind of be similar to a ketchup. But so I got some heirloom tomatoes, and I'm going to show you guys a little trick how to cut these guys pretty quick and easy. I'm going to lay them into this little deli lid. Okay, so we're going to cap that up there. So get a little pressure on it using a serrated knife. It helps to use a serrated knife unless you get a really sharp knife, but just gonna go ahead and cut it up like that. It's good to go. All right. So this is gonna be our tomato relish. That, a bit of the sliced onions and the minced garlic. Kalā is mixing up our hash. And same with the relish. I'm gonna just give it a quick toss, and we're gonna head over to the stove. You know, we want to get it in a nice hot pan because, of course, like I said, the taro is already cooked. So is the corned beef. The onions only require a short bit of cooking. So we're gonna just put it in there long enough to get the onion reduced down a bit and get a nice little crust on our corned beef and our taro. Okay, so this tomato relish, we used some heirloom tomatoes and some slivered onions, and we gave it a nice hot saute with a little bit of brown sugar, and we deglazed it with some apple cider vinegar, some nice minced garlic in there, and gave it like a sweet tangy kind of flavor. And it's going to add a little bit of color and some acidity to this hash dish. Saute this relish until it's a little charred and reduced down just a little bit, sort of the consistency of like a salsa. Okay, so this is our Hawaii ʻUlu Co-op taro and Kaunamano Farms corned beef hash. Nice and hot, ready to go. I'm just gonna give it a little bit of this tomato relish that we sauteed up, give it some color, acidity, and a little bit of sweetness. Oh, we got one on the ground there. And we're gonna just garnish it with a nice little bit of slivered scallion, just for fun. Give it some color pop, and that's our dish. Gonna move right into dessert. Now that's what we've all been waiting for. So this is our Baker's Ripe ʻUlu Piele molten chocolate dish. I'm gonna put this right in the corner over here. Give you a little peek at this ganache. Ooh, look at that. And it's nice and gooey in there in that center, and look at that. Tell me you don't want to get a bite of that right there. Okay, well, thanks again for joining us and cooking along with us today. Once again, I'm Kealoha Domingo.
I'm Kalā Domingo.
We're Nui Kealoha, and the moment we've been waiting for, we're gonna eat. So let's try this. Go ahead, son.
Good bite here.
I'm gonna get the dessert. Yeah. That chocolate. Yeah.
Yeah, the relish is a nice touch. Does kind of remind me of ketchup, but way better.
Chocolate. Nothing wrong with chocolate.
You are so right, Chef. Nothing wrong with chocolate. And I agree. Whatever Kalo is available is my favorite Kalo too. And so here we are, ready to start with our live question and answer time with Chef and son of Nui Kealoha Catering. And I'm asking if you guys can please activate your questions in the Q&A portion of the Microsoft Teams app. And so we have our first question was, can we still purchase this box? And so, Chef, you want to take it away with that, or would you like to handle some of the other questions in the chat?
I would definitely reach out to Hawaii Ulu Co-op. Their website is
eatbreadfruit.com.
Kalā did post that in the chat. I know that you know, there was a pretty high demand for the box.
Mahalo, mahalo nui. Yes, there was a big demand. In fact, the first 100 sold out, and then Hawaii Ulu Co-op worked hard to get another 88 boxes, and those sold out as well. And so, Chef, here's another question. Where do you get brown butter? Where do you get brown butter?
Actually, the recipe calls for regular salted butter, and what we did was we sauteed it on medium heat and created our own brown butter. Brown butter is just cooked butter.
Okay, nice. And so a little bit more information on from the Ulu Co-op, that although they ran out of boxes, if enough requests come in, they may just bring it back. They may just bring it back. And so again, all of this information will become available on our website for you to come back again and again to cook these amazing dishes again and again, as well as watch the presentations over and over. Do we have any more questions coming in from our audience? Anybody, please feel free to use the live event Q&A. If not, I have one question. So, Chef Kealoha, what's your fave dish of today, of this time?
What is my favorite dish at this time? Well, I mean, you know, going back to the video, the favorite dish is the one that's in front of me on the dinner table. And you know, I really gotta say that you know, this whole pandemic experience has really opened our eyes to, you know, food security and being grateful for what we got, you know, and that's one of the reasons why, you know, we thought it was important for us to offer up and highlight our local farmers, because they're the true heroes at this point in time. Without them, you know, we may as well give up cooking, you know, or give up living. Hey. I see one question that says, are we going to make more videos like this? And I mean, you know, we could, we could definitely make more videos like this. I definitely don't think I'm ready for a full-time career in live streaming or videos, but you know, we'll do our best to put some out.
Well, here's a good question right here. What's a Hawaiian food you like to see made more common, or that you were surprised that the poe kahiko ate?
Well, you know, we're gonna have to release some of the restrictions on endangered species, but you know, with the Piele dish that we highlighted, that was something that you know, I really find interesting and enjoyed. Actually, Kalā was the one that brought that dish back into my my menu. We had some leftover bananas once, and he made this Piele, and it was just really good, amazing, and everyone loved it. So that ʻulu Piele is basically a way of preparing, you know, ʻulu pala or overripe ʻulu, and it's actually giving it the ability to be preserved. You know.
So actually, that dish that we called Piele in the video, or Piele, it was made, yes, with ʻulu, but also with mai'a, with banana, uala, sweet potato as well, kalo too. So any of those kind of starches, those are also all considered Piele as well. So switch it up however you may feel, or with whatever you have available to you.
Yeah, I think that one of the things that is important for us to think about is, our Kūpuna, they were masters at survival. They didn't have a choice. They didn't have a Costco or a Safeway to go to, they had to, basically provide what they needed for themselves. And preservation of food was definitely a common practice. And, for us to understand that everything isn't always readily available and being able to think about the next day, I think that's really something that I want people to understand more about indigenous cooking. It's about survival. More questions? Any more questions?
What inspired this dish, both the meal and dessert?
Well, of course, when I spoke with Hawaii ʻUlu Co-op about the pahu idea, again, going back to Kamehameha, the question to Donna was, Donna at Hawaii ʻUlu Co-op was, hey, what do you folks have available? And, we work with that because that's the way it works. We use what we get. So Donna had mentioned that they had a good supply of ʻulu pala. So, just went to that. And, the corned beef, well, that's just an old time favorite of mine that, I wanted to keep it relatively simple because, we have a short time frame for the demo, but also, it's just home style cooking that we all love, and, can't go wrong with that. So.
Does it matter what kind of tomatoes we use for the relish?
I would say no. The cooking time might be a little different, but like I said in the video, I just wanted to kind of simulate that feeling of having ketchup on it. But that combination of the apple cider vinegar and the brown sugar, and if you want to add in your own seasoning, definitely I'd say go for it. And the reality is I'm not really a recipe guy. I like cooking, like we grew up just putting things together, and that's, definitely use your judgment on whatever you have available. So.
Kalā, did you want to pick a question?
Let's see. One anonymous person said, what are some other easy ways to incorporate Hawaii grown products into our daily diets? I think for one, just get started on educating on what's out there before you even start trying or buying anything. And you already have two great local companies right here in our own demo, is Kaunamano Farms and Hawaii ʻUlu Co-op.
And Hawaiian Crown Chocolate.
And they're based out of Hawaii Island, but Oahu also has a lot of options as well. Even just your neighborhood farmers market is a great place to start too. It's easier to eat healthy and eat local when you know where the food's coming from. So, look to your own communities because everybody has something that they can turn to. So.
Yeah, I mean the importance of supporting local just keeps coming back, and again, like I said, in times of need, when the ship stops coming, that's the people that we're going to be turning to, and we got to support them as much as we can. If you're able to, go local as much as you can.
And so, when is ʻulu typically in season?
ʻUlu, it varies a lot depending on variety and depending on location. But that's one of the great things I really like about Hawaii ʻUlu Co-op is that they have it pretty much all year round. The thing to remember, again, preservation. If you have a ʻulu tree or your neighbor has a ʻulu tree, it normally comes all at once. And ʻulu is so good to prepare to cook. You can steam it off, portion it out, and freeze it, and it does really well in the freezer. So if you have access to that, I will definitely recommend it.
Nice. I got one from Kumu Pi'ilani Ka'avaloa out there from beautiful Puna on Hawaii Island. Can you explain or elaborate more on ai ka mea loa'a?
Okay, ai ka mea loa'a. Basically, it basically translates to eat what you get, and that's something, you know, it's used both ways. And one is when you scold your kids for being or your siblings for being picky eaters, you say "ai ka mea loa'a," right? Because that's the food you got, so that's the food you're gonna eat. But now, in another sense, like just like how my dad explained before, that the local products that are grown here is what we loa'a, is what we have, what we get. So I think that is really how we apply it: is use what you have available to you. You don't need to go to great lengths to get something that you know that you want to eat. If you have access to it, if it's something that you like to eat, then eat it and use it in your cooking and support local as much as you can.
Yeah, I like to refer back to one of my favorite people in the world, Uncle Jerry Konanui, and I was so happy to see his grandson Hayden in an earlier presentation. But you know, he's someone who took ai ka mea loa'a to another level. You know, he really encouraged people to try things out of your wheelhouse. You know, I mean, so much of us grew up eating. You know, we grew up eating poi, but you know, how many of us really grew up eating overripe ʻulu, or how many of us grew up eating, you know, things that we just are not familiar with? But knowing what you can and cannot eat, you know, in times of need, it's a matter of survival for us. And you know, Uncle Jerry was, you know, adamant about learning how to eat things like Santa Soma, like ape, like you know, even the ufi, or things that aren't super common, but things that will grow here in Hawaii. Because, you know, like we experienced, you know, earlier in 2020, you know, the risk of not having that food delivered from outside sources is real. And you know, our Kūpuna were the masters at survival. So, you know, ka Waiwai no na Kūpuna, it's all over all of your screensavers and your backgrounds. You know, it's definitely the great theme for today.
Awesome. Mahalo nui loa for your participation and your contribution of your ike, your aloha, and your ohana to our conference. And we're just so grateful to you, Chef Domingo, and to your son, Kahiki no Kalā, for all your hard work and passion for ono, locally sourced food. Hashtag support local, hashtag all HCBE 2021. And so we're so grateful for all the partnership that you brought and all of the inspiration and the ability for us to feel a tactile and hands-on opportunity around food and lunchtime. Mahalo nui loa.